Amazing, very challenging, really different from what I thought it would be, because primarily, the roles of the member of parliament, but it's much of a bigger call than just representation, legislation, and oversight. It comes and boils down to personal issues about the constituents that goes beyond what you signed for.
Yeah, it goes beyond. You went to parliament knowing that you're going to be representing your people in parliament. You're going to be oversighting the government.
Yes.
And participating in legislation.
Yes.
And now,
little dino, I'll be an undertaker. You must be there in every single burial. And missing one of them becomes an issue because maybe competition went there, and it was a show that he stood with them or she stood with them,
and
in
you
the
are
most, and you're not there. So you become almost an ATM when, like right now, parents are taking children to school.
Yeah,
the only money available for me is bursary to give out there, which is yet also to be disbursed to the constituency accounts. But if you see the queues, the lines, the requests from parents who want you to come through to take their children to school, and they're actually in need. So you step up in your little way that you can help.
So how are you doing that? Are you doing that out of
course,
pocket?
it's from personal pocket. Yeah, but you see, it's not something new to me. Remember, even when I was still in media, I had JALANGO Foundation, and I was already doing a lot of charity, philanthropy, and all that. So it didn't come as a surprise. But I can imagine of new legislatures who went in and were not doing that in their former lives. You could easily be bankrupt.
You could bankrupt yourself.
You will.
When you were seated here during the campaigns and you said, when we asked you, so you understand the role of a member of parliament and you also understand the needs of your constituents.
Yes.
You said one of the things that you're very good at is forming partnerships.
Yes.
And you're going to solve all these issues but with collaboration and partnerships.
Yes.
So what partnerships do you have now for
bursaries? I've had so many issues.
Hospital bills.
I've had so many issues come out. Like immediately I was elected, we had like 4 fire incidences that raved down several houses down there in Langata. Southlands with fire, Raila village there was fire, there's fire in Hires Ward, and definitely when there's fire, we're talking about livelihoods being taken away from these people. So I called a few partners, definitely I will not mention because it will be free marketing. I still have radio and I know what it takes. And they came through for me. These are people who I am their brand ambassadors. A steel factory came through for me. We built houses for them. When we had we've had a lot of issues. We've had one of the biggest medical camps. And we've had a good partnership with a few people who also are. I was their brand ambassador in my previous career, and they still came through. Christmas just passed the other day. We fed thousands and thousands, something that I could not do myself because it will cost so much. I had partners coming up, and I've tried to use my past career to elevate me and partner with them to change people's lives.
It has been notable, and I know Ndu will come in and ask you a question, but I just want to throw this one there because I saw, for example, when you're talking about the partnership with the free medical camp, and some of the questions and comments that are coming up are these people influencing you by saying they're supporting your cause? So when they come up with matters that require legislation and all, or matters that then require oversight and you have to sit and question them, you'd already be compromised.
Of course, yes, everybody would say that, but these are people I've worked with in a very long time, and most of them don't even come from Langata. They just know the integrity that I did put out there during my time in my past career, and they still come through. For example, let me ask you, I work closely with a credit company. This credit company, the owners are not even here. You get? And from the partnership and the work we did in the past, they actually asked me, what can we do to support you? And they came through. See, one day maybe a case will be brought on the floor.
Yep.
A violation of maybe some
financial
legislations and all. You understand? I would still stand up and oversight them. I will not be compromised. Yes, because laws are laws. Yes.
Yeah. Do you find, I mean, it's often easy for us to look at a member of parliament, doesn't really matter where, and say, all these things you're engaged in, providing school fees here, attending burials, maybe we say, okay, it's not directly in your JD. On the other side of it, we're saying, look, representation, legislation, oversight. That is the thing upon which a member of parliament will be judged. But as you step into it now, do you see that there would then be a mix of the two, that it should be accepted that a member of parliament is going to have to go to that burial, is going to have to represent at that school fees, while at the same time being on the floor of the house and doing those three things? Is it time to accept that those things have to run concurrently?
You see, I could easily tell you that the other part of touching people's life and their need becomes even bigger than your main role, or your daily engagement with your constituents becomes even bigger than the main role that you signed for. It is even bigger than your JD. Let me tell you, in our parliament, the house, we are more than 300 of us. Let's say a motion is brought on the floor. How many of us will even get a chance to debate on it? You see, the Senate is much more easier. That's why you see a senator comes out vibrant each and every single time, because there are only 47 of them. And when a motion or a debate comes to the floor, it is easier to see who is participating and who is not. For the speaker to even see you, number one, in that floor, okay, it's so hard. Over 350 of us, understand? So maybe you even had a contrary opinion about an issue. You might not even get a chance to debate on it. We even have times where you have to now just cross the floor, go all the way to the speaker, tell them that, you know, sir, kindly, I've already plugged it, and on the queue, you know, we are on queue.
Yes.
If you want to speak, you sometimes even come so early than even very early to just plug in your card, because it's electronic, and the queues and
fast come,
fast serve. So let's say you're number 20. Just number 20. Forget about number 100. By the time you get a chance to speak, but then when I leave that house, I already find some of my constituents right outside the parliament, with an issue that needs, they would not even care whether I spoke in parliament or I didn't, but they are here with an issue that they need. You see? So I think they must.
So how do you balance those two? Because yes, there is addressing today's issue that this person has. This person has an issue today, they need to take their child to school. But also you understand that if nothing else changes, this person will still be needing school fees assistance next term. How do you balance that between that and the role that you have in parliament of ensuring, for example, that there is adequate money that goes to the education sector, so that this person never has to worry about school fees?
So you see, parliament, what everybody knows is the plenary. But parliament at work is a parliament in the committees, the different committees. Now, it's just making sure that the work that is done in the committees is at that point now participate fully in the committees. Let's say it's education, the education committee.
Yeah.
If you are not a member, maybe you can send a member there with an issue and they'll be bold about it. Yeah. So we try so much to make sure that we work more in the committees than in the plenaries, what everybody says. Yes.
Then there's the politics of the day. I mean, so you've been elected, people have sent you to parliament, they expect you to represent them, to legislate, to oversight the national government, and to come and sort out their issues.
Yes.
There's the politics of the day. You're in the minority.
Yes.
Your leadership in the minority is pushing another agenda right now, which is saying, look, we believe that our leader won this election, and we do not then recognize the legitimacy of these people who are in power.
Yes.
And we're going to push for these people who are in power now to vacate office because they're not there legitimately.
Yes.
Where does that leave you?
It leaves me to stand with the party and the party leader and the party conversation at any given time. My support for my party leader, my party, has never been questioned in any given day. And
Except
I really know
until yesterday.
I really know why you called me here and why you're buzzing me throughout. Definitely because of what happened yesterday. Remember, one of the first projects of our president was actually in Langata when we launched affordable homes, which the start date is actually today, and that was the reason why I was called to State House yesterday. Everything that we discussed yesterday was nothing political. We discussed everything development oriented, and that was it.
Who called the meeting?
The president called the meeting. Called the meeting.
Who's the president?
Really? Who's
Yes.
the president, Latif?
I don't know. Raila Odinga has said that the Azimio
Who's the
leadership,
president?
the Azimio leadership
No, who's
does
the
not recognize, and you just said you support the position of your leader.
Who is the
The
president?
leader of your party has said, we do not recognize Mr. William Ruto as a legitimate president in this country. And we also do not recognize any people that he has appointed
Yes.
to office in this country.
Yes.
And you don't recognize anything that he's doing in this country.
You see, when
So who called you?
when this
to State
project
House?
when this project was happening, the first time, I called my party leader and told him that Mr. William Ruto then now is coming to my constituency to launch this project.
Yeah.
Do I go? Told me, if it's anything development, go ahead and be part of it.
Okay.
All right. And Baba himself has given all of us a key to work with the president matters development.
Okay.
You saw him visit Homa Bay the other day, Sian Kisumu.
Yes.
He was welcome with all these MPs, all these governors, and they even had meetings at State House. Now that tells you one thing, that the key Baba lieutenants definitely have seen around President William Ruto, and I insist President, and I'll tell you why. And they will always question our loyalty because we're in the forefront. Every single rally, every single space where Baba's been, you've always seen me. Okay. And yesterday, definitely the internet broke off.
Yeah.
I thought that I would only be trending when I was in media. This one is even bigger. I was trending at number one. Yet we are more than 9 MPs there. So these other 9 MPs, I was lucky to be part of the meeting throughout, as much as I'm from Nairobi. They told me to sit in to also listen because I come from the regions where they represent. And being a leader, it was only noble that I sit there. And they followed up on every single project that Ruto had promised when he was in Nyanza. Okay. And the reason for this meeting was actually a follow-up on this. Maybe it came at a time when everybody is questioning, and we are out there every weekend pushing Baba's agenda. Then kaboom, you are at State House.
I must ask you, you've said something that when this housing project was being launched by His Excellency the President, you called Raila Odinga and said, should I
because
go?
we had just come from elections. And this was one of the first projects.
I understand.
Yes.
What if he had said no?
I would not have gone there.
What if yesterday the president had called you to State House?
Yes.
And what if you had called him again?
Yes.
And he said, well, we're being called for a follow-up meeting.
Yes.
Now, with temperatures going to where they have gone over the last 2 weeks, and he had said no, would you not have gone?
Of course, yes. Now, I didn't have a reason to call or ask because definitely I'd already given us a key to work if it's It's
wait a minute. Jalango, let's go chronologically.
No, listen.
So there are two instances here.
Chronologically,
You asked me. Listen.
Yes.
There are two instances here. In the first instance, His Excellency the President is launching a project in Langata.
Yes.
And he, obviously, it is your constituency.
Yes.
You've called Raila Odinga and you've said, should I go? He says, anything to do with development, yes, you must go.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You've also given us the example of His Excellency the President going to Homa Bay. The first time, maybe the reception was not so good.
Yes.
Second time,
Yes.
he went and everybody was there. All
because we had already been told.
Essentially, Baba
that
said,
you know
you
what?
should go.
This is for development. Go.
Let's
Right.
All right.
Now, since then, things have become salty significantly. Since then, things have been illegitimate government, this, that, the other thing. Had he told you then, in light of this that we do not recognize 1, 2, 3, would you, Jalango, have not gone if Raila Odinga said, no, we don't recognize this guy, do not go?
I would still have gone. Since being development, I would still ask what the agenda. And if it still stands as development, I would still go, because the people of Langata do not care who's president or who's not. What they care for is the delivery of what the mandate they gave me. You understand? It is the people of Langata who will judge me at the end of this all. Jalango, we gave you a chance. Did you deliver our mandate? We had asked you, these were our issues. Have you delivered onto these issues? It is the people of Langata who will at the end of the day. Yes, politics notwithstanding. Yes.
Okay, then I'm going to go back to that issue that you mentioned, that you're always in line with your party leader.
Yes.
Right? So right now, in this instance, or right today, what trumps the other?
Let me tell you something. We have a rally in Machakos this Friday. Friday or Saturday. The date is still not yet clear. I will be there, because now that's politics. We have to learn how to differentiate politics and development, as much as they run in the same direction.
What if the president holds the key to this development and for whatever political reason says, okay guys, don't go there?
I'm waiting for one statement from Baba again that will also give me direction.
That says you don't.
That whether it is development or not, don't go. Then we'll have that conversation.
But this is, Baba has said it clearly. We cannot and will not recognize the Kenya Kwanza regime, and we consider the Kenya Kwanza government illegitimate. That basically says, I do not recognize that William Ruto man as President of the Republic of Kenya, and I do not recognize that he is a head of government. So anything that he's doing, calling it development, calling it whatever, unless he's doing it in his private capacity, that's okay. But if he's doing it as president, I don't recognize.
So I think,
and not I think we includes you.
I think then Baba gave us a chance to work with him in his private capacity in case of development.
Let's take a break on that note.
Eric Klatif, how you doing?
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Conversation continues with the Honorable Member of Parliament for Langata constituency, Felix Oduor, Jalango. We are talking about development and why some leaders went to meet with the president yesterday. You've already told us. So you were invited by the president and you are going to discuss the housing project. And in that meeting, you also found that the president had coincidentally invited leaders from Nyanza region as a follow-up to the visit that he had made to the region.
Yes,
and they were discussing the promises that he made and how he was going to deliver on them.
Yes.
Did he ask you anything about what you've been doing in the rallies?
No, he didn't ask me. Actually, he veered off that direction, Kapsa, because he really wants our big support in his development agenda. So yesterday, today, the contractors will be on the ground. Then the Langata TVET at Madaraka has also been stalled because some variation on the BQ. So he allocated another 50 million. And how that is going to work well is that when the TVET is done, and the construction is going on. Then we have very short-term courses, like 3 months, where these young men can go to the TVET, learn some craft, tiling, plumbing, and they are the young men and women in Langata, and they will be directed straight to work on site, because the housing project is a 3-year project, and at any given level we'll need experts. So tiling, people will be doing painting and all this. We'll learn it at the TVET, then come straight to work at the construction site. So that's why we really needed both of the projects to run concurrently. Yes.
I think it's a brilliant thing.
Yes.
And just in terms of partnerships, what can actually work. It's unfortunate that the political overriding now puts a cloud over all of this, and that you can't really tell what is really happening with developments in this area. We've got to ask the question, though. It still goes back. I mean, we've been told also now there are cracks in Azimio just because the 9 of you went to State House yesterday without actually looking at, the underbelly of the story in terms of what was really, really happening. Does it matter? Does it really matter?
Let me tell you, we are at a very tough political end now. We are at a crossroad, we can't deny. The government is going on with its projects, and the opposition now, that is us at now, are calling out to resist. You understand?
Yeah.
Now, the government will always play very smart. For example, the day of the launch of the houses, when the president came to Langata the first time, with him was now the CS Lands, former MP. All right. So let's say that day I didn't show up, would have been given a chance to speak on behalf of the people of Langata.
Yeah, former MP.
Former MP.
Yeah. And what would they say? You gave somebody a chance to represent you, and he's not here. You denied this guy a chance, but here he is coming to see development. Now let me tell you something. The people right now just want development. Okay? All this will go on. Issues are out here. The cost of living is very high. People are going through a very hard time.
Yeah.
And they're just looking for anywhere to lean on, to bring hope, to make sure, to show that we are on the right track. Okay? So I can't lie to you. We are in a crossroad. To cut the crossroad down, Baba accepted and said, whenever we are talking about developmental issues or things to do with us, kindly go ahead and work for our people.
Okay.
Because apart from that, that's why we were elected.
Sure.
The first reason why we elected was to work for the people. We've already been given the mandate. So your job doesn't stop because you are in opposition. You still has to work for the people. You get?
Yes.
Langata has issues. I've not even been able to solve the water problem yet. You understand? They call me every single day on my phone. Like today is Wednesday, right? Today water is supposed to come to Langata. I might even be awake into the night just confirming with the people left and right
that Nairobi water is pumping water.
Is the water there? You understand?
Yeah.
How does that even come to my political end?
Sure. So then the thing is, when I ask the question, does it matter? You may be the first one in this manner over the last few weeks to actually say, you know what? All this political hoo-ha aside, what really matters is to be able to deliver a proper environment through which people's livelihoods can thrive. So the politics really doesn't matter.
And I'll call you today with your name, Ndu. And I love it. Ndu, let me tell you one thing. There's no single day. Welcome to Kenya. I know you've been here for long. There's no single day. There'll never be politics in this country. They run concurrently. Development and politics. So it's just for you to know which direction and to what time are you where and how. If today I was in a rally somewhere with Baba, for example, and there's no water in Langata, the people of Langata will not care what I said in that rally. They would care about the water in Langata. You get? If today there was water in Langata and I didn't show up at Baba's rally, my ardent Langata supporters, ODM supporters, would not care
that you were not in the rally.
That there was water, but I was not in that rally.
Right.
You understand? So at any given we are on a race. That is the road down, electricity up. So let's move. Yes.
Do you think that the politicians then confuse the citizens? Because, for example, so you went to State House yesterday, you had a conversation about a project that's taking place in your constituency, all right? And then on Sunday, you are in Machakos, and you will be there speaking and, championing the same message. We are resisting this administration. We are going to do everything we can to make sure that it's ungovernable and this administration gets out of office. We don't recognize anything. In fact, now you'll be wearing that uniform with a beret, and you'll be telling us all those things and saying, Ruto must go. But you just met Ruto and you didn't tell him to his face that he must go. Now you're coming to tell us in Machakos Ruto must go.
You see, soon and very soon, the electorate will be smart enough, or they're already smart enough, and they already know there's politics and there's development. Yes. Just that, simple. There's politics.
So we take the politics as entertainment.
It's not entertainment. Politics can never be entertainment.
So what
politics shapes?
How can we
even as we speak right now? Even as we speak right now, politics will always shape every single way we live out here. You understand?
What impact is it likely to have for you to have a rally wearing the uniform and the beret and saying Ruto must go and saying let's start resisting, and maybe even come up with a list of the things that you want us to resist, and say, unless Ruto is out of office, we are not going to do this and the other. And then on Monday you have to address the needs of your constituents by dealing with the Ruto administration.
You see, at that time, contractors,
you're saying politics,
work will not stop on the ground. You understand? Work is not going to stop. Contractors being paid, contract awarded, nyumba zinaendelea, maji inakuja, barabara inatengenezwa, stima iko, watoto wanaenda shule. You understand? So these things have to run. Eric, why are you confusing do here? We've been here for the longest time. We've been in this journey not once or twice. We've been here. You understand? I'm just new in politics. It is not everybody's cup of tea. It is not everybody's cup of tea. That's why some people come in one term and that's it for them, and don't want to go back. To me, I find that this is what actually I was meant for. You understand? To work for the people, champion what they want, bring development, ask questions, stand there, resist, make sure that what you want is done. That's it. And that is where now I am. I'm in my kind of waters now. You know me when we were here. How many radio stations did I leave here before I settled in? If you're not giving me what I want, I leave.
You move to the next one.
I move. We move. Life is a movement. Life is a movement. Join the movement.
Yeah. So forget about all those things.
Forget about all
that. Just move on.
Just move on.
I mean, the rest of the things are just drama,
and it's too short to make you really think that what.
As a member of parliament in the minority in the National Assembly, of course, you must have your own, parliamentary, the minorities meeting and taking direction from your leader, Pio and I, on how we are going to advocate our issues to make sure that there's accountability from this government. There is, of course, the cost of living. All those things that you talk about even in the rallies. There's a cost of living, the cost of unga, there's subsidized fertilizer, this and the other. What are you doing to make sure that these things are delivered? Now playing your oversight role in Parliament.
Of course, we must agree that Parliament has not had enough sittings to push some of these things, all right? Because how long have we been in? We've been in Parliament now 6 months. In these 6 months, there was a lot going on. putting up the committees together, the swearing in. It was just settling into that house. There's a lot to settle in a government for a government to start moving. So the first, I think, 4 months, if you were watching, there was very little work that was done in that. We hope that when Parliament now resumes, now we shall start tabling some of these issues and strongly debate on them and come up with directions that we are taking. Yes, but saying that this Parliament already has worked enough. We just had a clerk the other day.
There are big things that have happened.
Inductions. We just finished the committee's inductions the other day in Mombasa. There's a lot that has been happening.
In that time, a lot has happened also in Parliament. For example, the IBC Amendment Act went through Parliament, went to the Senate, has been assented to by the President. Your party is opposed to it. For example, the the Financial Inclusion Fund.
Yes.
The regulations came to Parliament. They were passed by Parliament.
There's a lot that has happened. Eric, we have to agree.
The supplementary budget came to Parliament.
There's a lot
that's happened.
There's a lot that has happened. There's a lot that has happened, but definitely not what we can sit here and say that we've sat down and if you
have not had a position on them, like you've not had a position, for example.
I would easily tell you that every single thing that we've done or championed out here as a minority has been in our rallies and all. But in Parliament, very little has come in to be debated on the issues that you mentioned, because most of the issues that have been tabled so far are just to make the government start running,
to move. So there will be an opportunity. Taking into consideration when you clock in at 20 and there's 300.
We are coming back. We are coming back in a week or two. We will have a chance now to start now debating the real issues. Food prices have to come down. Subsidies have to come in. If that is the only, people are going through a very hard time, bro.
Those are contained.
You don't have to have a. Maybe I'm from
those are contained in supplementary budgets.
Of course, yes.
The supplementary budget has been brought to Parliament. Now, what kind of voice have we heard from the minority on the issue of the supplementary budget, on the content of the supplementary budget that talk about subsidies? Is there a fertilizer subsidies?
We're having the party.
Is the one that's allocating 12 billion shillings to the, what's it called, not the Huduma Fund, what's it called? The Hustler Fund.
Now we are going for our PG this Thursday. Tomorrow, we are starting our PG. And definitely, we will have a voice from that on our take on all this. Yes. There's no PG is from tomorrow.
It's from tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yes.
During campaigns, I guess it's the time where promises, flying everywhere. There's certain things you said. There's certain things, you said you would do, or at least, at the very least, said that you would like to do.
Yes.
So people are waiting, to say, okay, he said he was going to do this, he said he was going to do this, or at least agitate for this to be done. Would you say you're on course?
We're on course. One of the first things I ever said was definitely making sure that the issues of bursaries, for example, is transparent, open, free and fair. That's why when I was issuing the bursary forms, I did have the different wards coming to my office in different days. Then we did all that openly. Everybody who came got a chance to have a form. We are clearing all that to make sure that the legit people, because we had double entries, double applications. You just know Kenyans at the end of the day. And it will just be that again. And I even added more funds in it and decided the 100% that is given for education, this time let it go for bursaries. That is around 50 million Kenya shillings. It will all go that. It's a promise I did put out there. I did say that this is going to during my time, Langata's water issue will be a thing of the past. Now we've been pushing through the Nairobi Water and definitely the county to make sure that the Northern Water Corridor Collector is complete, probably by February, end of this month. And you saw Sakaja's commitment into that. And when that is done and we have the new infrastructure that now supplies Langata, that will be a big win for me. You understand? We said we'll have a food program for those people who are, Langata, we have so many slums. And that is already happening. We already having that happening even before I build the kitchen that I promised that I will build for food for education. Now, food for education.
So this is for school children?
This is for school children. What this will do, I'm putting up a community kitchen in partnership with Food for Education that will see 10,000, almost every single child in Langata, every day, have food served in school. Now, what that will do, proper concentration in class, retention, and even more enrollment, because we have children from the slums who don't show up to school to go look for food. And if they
you said about 10,000,
more than 10,000,
more than 10,000 school-going children,
yes, in Langata,
and this is in public and private schools.
Public and private, provided you, and both is secondary and primary. It's a model that I've borrowed from KJ, Embakasi South. It's
Embakasi,
Dagoretti South, and it's working very well. And it's one of the key projects I've put out there.
How do you fund this? How does one get such a thing moving?
Now, this works the most beautiful way. I think it's one of the things that is so beautiful. I didn't know. It's a very beautiful project. Now you put up this kitchen, okay? This kitchen, that we have subsidies from the county government.
Okay.
So a meal costs 30 shillings. All right. The county government is subsidizing for up to 26 shillings. So the parents pay 5 shillings only. In any given day, the parents maybe pay 100 shillings per child. So this will save them 95 bob. So how do the parents put out pay for this? So there's a gadget that they load money on. It's like a watch. So when your child comes, all they have to do is to tap, and it is 5 shillings is deducted, and they have their food. Can you imagine the burden you take away from the children, from the parents, when all from 100 shillings, now they only have to pay 5 shillings. So this project, probably by April, it will be up and running in Langata.
So Sakaja's input is 27 bob per plate.
26 shillings per
26 bob per plate. And this is coming from the county government.
County government and also the government.
And the national government.
The national government.
Is the CDF contributing anything into this project?
No, what we are contributing is the building of the kitchen.
Okay.
I've put out, the kitchen costs 23 million shillings, but I've already put out 17 million shillings into this. In this financial year, 2023-2024. So I want to fund it. I want to put 17 million in the first disbursement of CDF. The first thing will be bursaries, then the next thing will be the kitchen. Yes.
How many children do you think ought to benefit? Right now you're starting with about 10,000 or so children.
We put out 10,000, and the school, we had a meeting with all the head of schools, head teachers of Langata primary schools and secondary schools the other day at my office, and we're still working on the estimates, the numbers of the children that will be there. Now that we are even having, there's a new year, so that children that have transferred to other schools and all, so we are yet to get now the new numbers cumulatively. Yes, but we are planning for that kitchen to feed at least 10,000 people.
There's just about 45 seconds, and I just want to address a report released yesterday by education stakeholders says 4% of schools in middle and low income urban settlements are public schools. That means about 96% of schools in your constituency, for example, in the slum areas, are private. Are you planning to set aside money from CDF and championing the national government to build public schools in your constituency?
The problem we have in Langata is land, land in the different wards. You see, like a place like High Rise Ward, Joshua Loom is the only public school, but with the new affordable houses, we've had to put up a school in there. At least now that is the first school we are doing. Then I'm completing. If you follow me on my socials, I was at Kongoni, and we're pushing for the completion of the project. Kongoni Primary School and Secondary School. We're expanding. A lot of what we want to do is not to build new,